Think about this. August 6th, 1945. One single flight, carrying one single weapon, redrew the entire map of warfare and plunged the world headfirst into the atomic age. Today, we're going to unpack the story of that mission to Hiroshima, a few crucial hours that completely altered the course of human history. So let's go there. Picture this. It's the dead of night on Tinian Island, about 1,500 miles south of Japan. It's 2:45 in the morning. The air is just thick. And under the harsh glare of floodlights sits this B-29 superfortress, its polished aluminum body reflecting the darkness. The mission is officially a go. For the crew, the mission had a code name, Operation Centerboard 1. But for the rest of the world, this was the start of a terrifying new chapter. All right, so let's break down the mission. You've got the Enola Gay, commanded by Colonel Paul Tibbets, with 11 men on board. But it wasn't the plane or the crew that made this mission historic. It was the cargo. Nicknamed Little Boy, it was a weapon that weighed almost 10,000 pounds and packed the explosive punch of 15,000 tons of TNT, a kind of power that had never, ever been unleashed before. But how did we even get here? How did this specific flight become, well, inevitable? To really get that, you gotta rewind the clock. This mission didn't just start on a runway in the Pacific. It started years earlier, with the world at war and a frantic, secret race against time. See, the road to that flight over Hiroshima, it was paved with years of brutal global conflict, mind-bending scientific discoveries, and a truly terrifying strategic calculation. Everything really kicks into high gear with a surprise attack. When Japan hit Pearl Harbor, a hesitant America was dragged into a massive world war. In the Pacific, that meant a bloody, inch-by-inch, island-hopping campaign where surrender was almost never an option. And all while this brutal fighting is happening, something else is going on in the background, in total secrecy, and it all leads to a blinding flash of light in the New Mexico desert. So what was this secret project? The Manhattan Project. And you know what it was born from? Pure fear. Word had gotten to the US that scientists in Nazi Germany were working on splitting the atom. America simply could not risk Hitler getting his hands on that kind of weapon first. So, under the tightest security imaginable, the world's greatest physicists were brought to secret labs like Los Alamos with one goal: harness the power of the atom. And when the lead scientist, the brilliant J. Robert Oppenheimer, saw that first test detonation, he wasn't celebrating. No, he was absolutely haunted. A line from Hindu scripture popped into his head. "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." He knew. The whole team knew. They had created something that could end the war, but also maybe the world itself. With the war over in Europe, President Truman was facing just an impossible choice. Japan was showing absolutely no signs of surrender. A full-scale invasion, experts predicted, would cost millions of lives, both American and Japanese. So he was stuck with two horrific options. Option A, the guaranteed dragged-out horror of an invasion, or Option B, unleashed this new terrifying weapon that might just shock Japan into a sudden surrender. And that decision is what brings us right back here, to the Enola Gay cutting through the sky over the Pacific. The choice has been made, and now the final irreversible steps are kicking into gear. Okay, so here's something wild. The bomb wasn't even armed when they took off. It was just too risky. So about 90 minutes out from the target, Captain William Parsons had to perform one of the most stressful tasks you can imagine. He's in this cramped, cold bomb bay, manually switching safety plugs for live ones, arming this thing. Once he's done, that's it. There's no going back, no failsafe. And this is where the story gets just tragically ironic. Japanese radar did pick up a few planes. They were actually the weather scouts flying ahead of the Enola Gay. So an air raid alert went off in Hiroshima, but when it was just a couple of planes and not a huge bombing fleet, the authorities figured it was just reconnaissance. So the all-clear siren sounds, and everyone in Hiroshima just goes back to their morning routine. Okay, T-minus 10 minutes. The plane is at 31,000 feet, starting its final run. The crew puts on these super dark protective goggles. Down below, the bombardier, Thomas Furby, is glued to his bomb sight. And there it is, his target coming into perfect view. The T-shaped Aoyoi Bridge, picked because it was so easy to spot from the air, right in the city's heart. 1 minute to go. You hear this mechanical groan as the bomb bay doors swing open, exposing the massive weapon to the morning air. And down below, the city of Hiroshima has no idea. Trams are clattering along, people are heading to work, kids are walking to school, with absolutely no concept of the silent destruction hanging directly above their heads.
Then, a click, the clamps release, and just like that, the world is shoved into a terrifying new age.
For 43 seconds, it just falls. Complete, total silence. Can you even imagine that? Almost a full minute. It plummets towards its detonation point, about 2,000 feet above the city. Then, in less than a blink of an eye, a chain reaction is triggered.
A fireball, hotter than the surface of the sun, vaporizes the city center. The blast, the firestorms, the radiation. By the end of the year, an estimated 140,000 people are dead. The devastation was, well, it was absolute.
You know, sometimes the scale of a tragedy is so big, it's hard to grasp, but it's the small details that really hit home. In the ruins, rescuers kept finding clocks and watches. All of them stopped cold at the exact same moment, 8:15 a.m. It wasn't just a city that was destroyed. An entire city's moment in time was just frozen. And if you somehow survived the blast itself, a new kind of hell was just beginning. The explosion created its own radioactive weather system. Soon, this thick, oily, black rain started to fall from the sky. And the survivors, desperate for water, drank it. They had no way of knowing they were drinking poison. So the bombing of Hiroshima and then another one on Nagasaki 3 days later, it worked. It ended the most destructive war in human history. But it also left a scar on humanity that has never really healed. After that second bomb hits Nagasaki, Japan's choice becomes brutally simple. On August 15th, for the first time ever, the emperor's voice is broadcast over the radio, announcing their surrender. The war was finally over. In the months that followed, American scientists walked through the flattened cities, trying to wrap their heads around what this new weapon had truly done. But here's the incredible part. Life did come back. They thought nothing would grow for decades, but then the oleander flower started to bloom right through the ashes, a powerful symbol of resilience. And one skeletal ruin, the dome of the old industrial promotion hall, was intentionally left standing. It's a permanent, haunting reminder of the cost of war. If you go to Hiroshima today, you'll see a bustling, modern city. It's an amazing testament to the human spirit. But right at its heart, they left the atomic bomb dome standing. It's there to ask us all a question, every single day. A city can be rebuilt, sure, but have we truly heeded its warning?